take over and you can
Sure.
enjoy the Scottish accent instead.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, Pete just basically sends his apologies, and I'll try and run through some of the questions.
Sure.
And Pete, how long do you think we should leave this before we get started? It's only about 3 minutes past 8 at the moment. But what do you want to do on this? And Pete can type away and tell me what it is that he wants to say. If he mutes his microphone, it'll be a lot pleasanter on our ears. Thank you.
You're typing too loudly, Pete.
So basically, we're just going to get started just now. David and Pete, are you recording this? Just give us a thumbs up. Yes, you are. Cool. I can see that. Awesome. Oops. And now I'm getting stuff happening on my side. Don't worry, Pete. I'm on top of it. So, David, thanks for taking some time out of your schedule. We all know how busy you are with everything that you're doing. One of the things that we'd really love to hear about on the business side of things is just some of the success stories that a lot of people have been having that you know of, or particularly people that you know of. So we're going to start basically with that question. If you can share some sort of success stories.
Sure. So, I get asked this question a lot as far as, who are the typical people that succeed in Purium? And the answer is there's really not a typical person. We have people from all walks of life. I'm proud to say that the majority of the people who have been successful have not had a tremendous amount of network marketing experience. And that the majority of the people are either women or couples led by a woman. And the culture may be different over in the UK and Europe. I know that there is definitely a bit more of a kind of professional attitude toward network marketing. In the US, it tends to be almost exclusively beginning as a very part-time business venture. And with that, we tend to appeal to a lot of moms and a lot of people who start out on the product and from their product experience grow into the business. So we're getting to the point now in the US with the level of success that we've had that we're able to lead with the business more. And I think that strategically we're seeing more people going into 2017 wanting to lead with the business more, realizing that, this is a business of distribution, and that if you can find somebody who is entrepreneurial, who is wanting to make money, who has a large base of contacts, that they can be very successful. So I guess when you say, who is the typical success story, I don't know if there is a typical success story, but I guess the person that I think is great to highlight as our most recent success story is Sarah Rhinelander. And Sarah is from the little island of Kauai. I've heard that there's anywhere between 60,000 and 85,000 people that are full-time residents there. And she's built a Crown distributorship, and I'm guessing will be a 2-star Crown next month as we break into the new year. And so, a couple of lessons from, her story is, number one is that the beauty of the business is that there are no boundaries. And so, it's interesting that, some people will say, oh, well, you live in a big city, so you have a big advantage. Or somebody else will say, you live in a big city and people don't spend time like they do in the small, countryside or in the small communities. And so it's really up to you as to where you want to promote, who you want to promote to. So, if you're promoting to somebody in London, our products probably seem much less expensive because people are used to spending more money and then probably have more disposable income. But yet, if you promote in a smaller place, it's easier to build that community. And so I think Sarah chose to start with her warm market in Kauai, but then to build out, and she has large teams in Washington State and Oregon and in Northern California, and starting to grow all around the country. Another lesson from Sarah's success is that she's really worked hard to build a team, and that the thing that's interesting about this business is that it's non-linear, and so that the amount of time and effort and money on the front end is always much harder, and never seems to be worth the kind of payoff in the beginning. But if you do the right things and you teach the right things and you build the right way with the right people, then you're able to then have them do some of the things that you were doing. And so I think she's been one of the more successful distributors that we've had. She has no network marketing experience, but she's really taken to heart this idea of building a community and empowering people and helping to take the limiting beliefs away from those people. So she's now to the point, now she's got a large team. She's a crown going to 2-star crown, but she now does mastermind calls, Zooms, 4 days a week. So she's kind of I forget what she calls them, but she's got her kind of people who have raised their hands and they are wanting to do this, at a high performance level and really looking to earn a significant income. And that's a voluntary decision. But once you're in, you're expected to be on these Zoom masterminds, 4 days a week. And so she does them 4 days a week. And, there's usually 30, 35 people on a Tuesday afternoon Zoom call, because these are people that want to make money and have committed to make money. And so she's built this organization. So I'm not recommending that that's necessarily what you do or anything like that at this moment, but it's just a reflection of what the success looks like. So I think there's definitely some good lessons to be learned from Sarah and from how she builds and what she's built. I can give another example or two, and is this what you wanted to hear as far as not only just how much money they're making and all that kind of stuff, but a little bit more about how they go about promoting?
Yeah, please. I mean, this has been really good, and there's a couple of things that you've mentioned there that really I want to pick up before you continue as well, which is like it's people's commitment to the business side of things, to actually making the decision, I'm going to give this a good run type thing. It's not about just the get rich quick. It's like, I'm going to make a commitment, I'm going to work at this, I'm going to be consistent, and actually getting on board with either your upline or working with your team members and stuff, and actually following through certain steps which will help promote your sort of success as well. And I think what's happening with a lot of people look for these sort of testimonies for inspiration to show that other people are being successful. So I think everything that you said there was brilliant. And one of the things I really liked about the girl you mentioned in Hawaii is that she started small and made a community. And I think when we lead with the passion of our own success with it, that just expands. So yeah, no, everything that you're saying there, I feel was really beneficial, and I'd love to hear more.
Well, let me say one or two other things about Sarah. One of the things that's interesting is she's built her business with a lot of millennials. So she's built her business with a lot of kind of artists and people who are, I'll just use the word alternative. When you live in Kauai, you're a bit alternative, you're kind of a bit more off the grid. And a lot of her people are fire dancers, and they're entertainers of some sort. And so she has a lot of moms, but she definitely promotes the community side of things and really tries to recognize people for who they are and to inspire them to continue to be themselves and to promote the business in an authentic way. So I think she's done a really nice job of building a community of people that feel excited, empowered, and that they're, looking at this in some ways as a personal development journey as well as a financial journey, and that they really like to be on the calls. They feel it's a positive environment that they plug into. So anything else, or you want me to move on to somebody else?
No, I mean, if you've got another testimony that you would like to share that you think.
And one last thing, sorry to keep talking about Sarah, but, I spent a lot of time with her here in Kauai the other day, over the Crown trip. And, her upline sponsor was on food stamps. So, it was a pretty amazing story of, this woman who really was, near poverty, enrolled Sarah and, is now earning, pretty significant income, even though she's not a crown. She did find that one great person who really ran with it. And, I don't like to promote get rich quick, nor do I like to promote, you're one lottery ticket away or you're one gift card away from, success. But I do think that the lesson is that if you recruit up, if you recruit toward, some of the best people on your list, if you recruit toward the business oriented people, that's always a good idea. And this woman's name is Willow. She was willing to, because Sarah's, even though she's a mom and not necessarily a dynamic business person, she obviously is, but she's a sharp woman who Willow knew could be successful with this if she sunk her teeth into it. So so let me see if I can share another kind of crown success story that's one of my favorites. Let me think of a good one that
I mean, even it doesn't necessarily need to be a crown one. I think even a diamond or executive level type thing, just some people who have kind of maybe stood out to yourself, just to show that at any level that this can be done.
Sure. So, one of the people that I really like, I just got off the phone with her, is Mary Kay Mullally. So Mary Kay is originally from Jamaica. She lives in Southern California now. And she's great because she had all the trappings of success. I mean, she's a very hardworking person. She's a high-level IT person. She makes six figures. But, they had a bunch of debt. Her husband has had, trouble finding work consistently on and off. And they had two kids they had to put through college and all that kind of stuff. So, an example of somebody who, you would think, oh, she has it all. But the reality is that, they hadn't owned a house in many, many years. They had to get rid of their house in foreclosure. I think it was 10 years prior. And that was always a dream that she felt like was really fading, that she couldn't work any harder. She was consulting along with having a full-time job. And she was kind of at her wit's end a bit, in that she felt totally maxed out. And for whatever reason, her husband was having trouble finding full-time work. And so she got involved with Purium. And, her house was always her why, that she wanted to get back into owning a house. And that's what she's done. And so that's been a great story. She's, slowly substituted out her consulting work, which is high paying, but, is just trading dollars for hours. And she just slowly pulled back on that and, started to do more and more Purium work. And then her full-time job, she's now, gotten it down to about 20 hours. So, I mean, she earns clearly a full-time income with Purium. Plus, she wants to keep her hands in the IT world. And so that's why she stayed with it. And, she's just, a hardworking person and enjoys working with her people. And so it's also another thing that sometimes you forget is that, even if somebody's successful, if they're sitting in front of a computer screen all day long, it kind of allowed her to use some of her gifts as far as being a trainer and being somebody to care for other people. And so there's, other emotional benefits that if the business is done correctly can start to come out. So I think that, it's always the first part that's the hardest part, to kind of get that wheel turning and to get that moving forward. But, sorting and sifting through your product-oriented people to get them business-oriented, or going after business-oriented people. And once you have a team of business-oriented people, kind of fostering that culture is oftentimes very rewarding for people, no matter what they've done in the past. So that's another story that's kind of interesting.
That's brilliant, David. And I think one of the really important things to pick up on what you said there was, like, the dream that she had, the vision in her mind's eye of where she wanted to be would have been probably, like, and being in that sort of position would have been very motivational for her. And the other thing I really liked about what you were saying was how she started small, like with minimal hours, and then just gradually built it up over time. I think a lot of people, it's a common mistake for people to jump in and they either go hell for leather and then they realize this is going to take longer, and then they panic because they've dropped out from maybe some work that was paid like an employed job a little bit. So I think that's a really important point to highlight, is that when you begin with Purium and with a network marketing company, it's about transitioning towards a lifestyle that you want rather than kind of just jumping in it. For some people, that's going to be the good thing to do, to jump in with both feet. But I think for the general sort of population moving forward, the clever, the smarter way to do it is to just transfer over to that. And before you were actually talking about that second testimony there, you mentioned the Crown trip, and I was wanting to actually ask you, is there any updates or any news from the from the Crown trip that you can share with us?
Well, I think, at this point, we're still running the two businesses, the U.S. business and the European businesses separately. And I think that by the end of the year of 2017, this time next year, my goal would be to have much more of a international platform that's truly international. So our plan is to transition to the brand Purium in June, and to begin that process, which is just, it's a psychological thing. I think that it makes things more unified, just one more step closer. But right now, we definitely run the business, two separate businesses, and we've been playing catch up for a while and not doing as good a job as we've needed to try to keep the European business catching up to the U.S. business. And so we've made some changes a little bit in organizational structure. I don't want to get into all the details, but the short version is that I think we clearly have a better understanding of business units and service units, and I think we have a plan for growth. One of the big announcements that we made at the Crown trip was that we are going to be getting a new manufacturing facility next year, and I think that shows Dave and Amy's confidence in the business overall, because it will be hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars to move all of the equipment from a 30,000 square foot facility to a 40,000 square foot facility and outfit it with new conference rooms and new furniture and new stuff. So it's going to be very exciting. So I think that, for those who do have U.S. contacts, especially Southern California contacts, we will be making that manufacturing facility into more of a showcase facility. It's not going to be the Taj Mahal or anything, but it's going to be a place where we will have consistent business meetings. And, so that's a big announcement, although it may seem like it affects the U.S. business more. That's not the case. It definitely affects, all of the business around the world, because the more efficiently that we can make the products, the more that we can keep down the costs and pay out more and all those other things. So, our current facility is a bit inefficient in that it grew from one little building to two buildings to three buildings to four buildings. And so we have forklifts going across the street. We have, inventory in a couple of different places, and we have supplies in different, it's just, and there's really no kind of office space in which their collaboration can happen. So it's a small, but an important announcement that we made on the Crown trip as well. So
that's great.
Those are a couple of things.
Cool. And so you've mentioned the transition into Purium kind of across the border type of thing, kind of for June, you were saying, yeah, hopefully.
I'm sorry?
Sorry, you were saying that is it June 2017 that you were saying that was hopeful for, yeah?
Yeah. Right now we have a meeting, there's a meeting in Germany every year, and I think it's the last week of June, I believe it's set up for. So, our plan is to announce, make that announcement and to start to roll out. We haven't decided exactly, whether the websites change or whether, catalogs change or whether labels change or what changes when, but, we've pretty much drawn a line in the sand that in 2017 we need to switch over and start building a global brand.
That's great. I think that's, it's something that I've been curious about and looking forward to, and I'm pretty sure there'll be a lot of people that will be happy to hear that, because it makes things a little bit more seamless. Now, is there any news for like the new year or anything that's coming forwards in January, February?
Yeah. So at this point, I'll give you a couple of announcements that are let's just say unofficial, and I'm hoping to make official here in the next week or so, and you'll see emails. So number one is we're planning on continuing the 145% QV promotion into next year. So that's one thing that we want people to rank advance, and we're looking at some other promotions, especially a couple of promotions we've run in the US recently. So I was hoping to have it approved and buttoned up by this call, but I didn't quite get to everybody who needs to sign off on it. So that close away from another really good promotion for January, February, and March. So so I think there's going to be January, February, March. New Year's is always our best time of year. And we are going to be putting out some new social media for the US, and there's no reason why those social media squares can't also be utilized in Europe as well. So that's definitely our big initiative in the US, is a focus on engaging people through social media tied to their resolutions, whether it's losing weight or eating better or making money. And so we'll be able to load up some of those social squares in your back office that you can post on your Facebook pages, and just begin that conversation, because I think that's the key. Is our growth has primarily occurred January, February, March, into April and May. That drives the whole year, and it's because people are looking to lose weight. It's just that time of year. So I think it's important that there are some promotions and there are some marketing tools that you guys can utilize. So 45% is a definite. I've got another promotion that I'm pretty confident we'll be able to roll out in between Christmas and New Year's. And I'll look at getting you some of the social squares that we've got in the US loaded up in your back office. The other announcement is that we will have the rank advancement component of the Dreams platform. So kind of the first piece of the Dreams platform up by tomorrow is my understanding, so that you'll be able to see how close you are to certain ranks and how close people are to certain ranks. And the promotion that we're looking at doing for January, February, March, or at least one of the ideas would be tied to some low-level rank advancements, consultant, director, executive, trying to drive the bottom part of the business, which ultimately drives the top part of the business. So Dreams platform first step finally should be happening tomorrow. And of course there'll be no charge for that, or the Dreams platform for a while, as we're long overdue with lots of promises to you on technology that continue to fall short. So as we add more to the Dreams platform, I'm hesitant to get too far beyond with the poor track record we've had, but I would assume that there will be some other additions to the platform next month as well. But the rank advancement piece is one of the more important pieces, so you can more easily see where you are and where your people are. So
that's great. That's great news. I know a lot of people will be really happy about the 45% or the 145% promotion, and I just want to say thank you as well for myself, because it makes a difference. It has made a difference for me with the transition into the new compensation plan. So I just really wanted to say from me that I really appreciate that. So sure. I really want to say thank you for sharing that with the team out here. And the 145%, was that January, February, and March you were going to do?
Yeah. Correct. Yeah. So we're extending it for at least 3 more months, and like I say, we'll have another promotion on top of that, and we're gonna look at the, like I said, the markets as one global market toward the end of next year, but we want to remain supportive and aggressive, just for treating you as you for now. And if you do see some stuff, and I don't know how much it is that you watch, our Facebook pages, or how much you see our conference calls or other things, if there are some things that you're seeing that we're doing that you think you need to have, it'd be good to know, and it would help me to prioritize because, at this point, obviously we spend the majority of our time focused on the US business. And, as far as resources go, I would love to think that we'll get more resources that are totally dedicated to Europe, but that's not where we are right now. So it is helpful if you, raise your hand and say, hey, I saw you did this, or I heard about this, or that training was great. Is there something we can get for that? That would be helpful for me.
Okay, well, obviously we're recording this and I'm hoping that there's not going to be any issues with it, but that can definitely be passed down along to the teams. Now, I know we're coming up to the end of the call, David, but have you got another minute or two for potentially one or two questions?
Absolutely.
So if anyone has a question for David, please unmute your mic and just ask away. I'm pretty sure David will give a good answer anyway.
I'll answer questions that aren't even asked, so be careful. I'm a politician.
Hey Dave, it's Andy. Sorry I missed the call, mate. I've just got in from a fire, so unfortunately I couldn't be on it. So I just want to say thanks for coming on. Thanks for giving us your time, mate. And I look forward to seeing the recording, buddy.
No worries. Well, I'm glad you made it through the fire. You look unscathed, so that's good.
I was driving. It was okay.
That could be worse. I don't know.
So, guys, have we got any questions for David, or are we going to let him off the hook this time easily?
Christopher, I don't really have a question, but David, I just wanted to thank you for coming on these calls, because I think it's a great thing for us here in Europe to actually get you and David and Amy live on these calls. And I really appreciate it myself, and I think everybody does as well. So thank you for sharing these stories. It was really good to hear that other people started really slow, but they're very successful as well. Because, I mean, the first time is always the most difficult time to get started and to find your way in this business. But yeah, I'm looking forward to more.
Well, thanks so much. And I mean, the story of persistence, that is the ultimate story of persistence, is Ian Farrar. So, some of you may not know this story, but, Ian was literally our first distributor in the company. So he joined Purium in 2004. And the company really, really struggled. I mean, Ian was earning, when I met him in 2011, so 7 years, I think his check was $2,500 a month. So he was doing other things as well as Purium, but he tried to go full time, then went part time, then tried to go, but it was in 2011 he was earning probably $2,500 a month, and I think so 2,500, so he earned maybe $30,000 a year, and last year I think he earned over $500,000. So it's just I'm not saying that I wish that for you all on the front end to put 7 years of, hard labor in. I'm hoping that things start to pick up even more here in 2017, and we have more success stories. But I think that consistency and vision and finding good people and building a community, all those things are helpful, and help me to help you by letting me know what we can do for you.
That's great, David. I really appreciate everything you were saying there. And to be honest, I think 7 years to be earning that sort of level is pretty good work.
Yeah. So
just again, from everyone on the call, we really appreciate you coming on and sharing some of the insights and success stories that you did today. And again, really appreciate the promotions and things that you're rolling out for the European side and the transition into better IT and everything. It's good to see it all coming, and again, just thank you from me, and I know from my team as well.
Well, thanks for your patience. This is definitely not the journey that I was hoping it would be. It's been a way slower, way bumpier, way more difficult road, and I appreciate and admire your persistence, and admire your willingness to continue to move forward. And I know that for Dave and Amy, maybe I was wrong in saying that Ian was the ultimate story of persistence. I mean, Dave and Amy started 24 years ago, and when I met them in 2011, you know, I would say on paper their company was probably worthless. You know, so I don't know if they would want me to tell you that, but that's probably the reality. Is that, you know, they were doing, you know, millions of dollars in sales, not in Purium or Platinum, but, you know, they were doing, you know, private label and some other things, and, you know, but if you looked at you know, their balance sheet, and you looked at their profit and loss, and you looked at the numbers after 17 years of blood, sweat, tears, and a lot. 19 years, I guess. You know, I would say their business was you know, not worth very much. So, you know, there definitely are stories out there of people who put in a lot, and I'm appreciative that they're going to be putting more money into the business to help all of us to be more successful, and that's why they're building the manufacturing facility, and I know they're appreciative of you. Helping other people get healthy, and that's the main thing that we're trying to get done here. So
exactly. And my commitment to doing what I'm doing is purely from my own personal experience of how I feel using the products, how I feel with doing the cleanse and detox through the transformation. So, yep, it's been a very successful and very good decision that I made, which is nearly coming up for 2 years. So. Thank you again, and yeah, I think it's time to let you get on your way.
I don't know if you're a smart guy or not, Christopher, but with all those books in the background, you look like a smart guy. I gotta change my background, you know, to have something more.
It's just for show. For show. Thanks again, right, David. It's been awesome. It's been phenomenal listening to you and hearing you.
Thanks so much.
Thank you, David.
Anytime.
Thanks, David.
Yeah.
Cheers,
thank you, David.
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and
Merry
Christmas.
Okay.
Merry
Bye-bye.
Christmas.
Bye-bye.
Cheers, guys. See you later. Sorry I couldn't make it.